My name is Sarah, born and raised in Toronto. I'm a plain-looking brunette girl in my mid-20s with long hair that falls just past my shoulders. I stand at 5'4" with an average build that's strong enough to handle the demands of my job as a nurse. At the local hospital, I find solace in my work. My day-to-day responsibilities are demanding, but the ability to provide comfort and care to those in need brings me fulfillment. My colleagues often describe me as someone with unwavering dedication, an attribute I take great pride in. Beyond the hospital, my life is rather uneventful. I prefer the simple pleasures, reading a good book with a coffee, tending to my collection of houseplants, and occasional visits to the local coffee shop. There's a tranquility in these small rituals that I cherish. However, I can't help but harbor a deep dislike for the chaos and unpredictability of the city's streets, especially after dark. Late October brought with it a chill that cut through even the warmest of coats. The days grew shorter, casting long shadows that danced eerily on the pavement. On this particular evening, I left work at 5 p.m., eager to return to the comfort of my home. As I walked through the dimly lit streets, a chill permeated the air, sending a shiver down my spine. The sun cast long shadows that danced eerily on the pavement. It was a cold night, and my leather jacket did little to shield me from the biting wind. As I continued on my way, I noticed a dishevelled figure in the distance, hunched against the wall of the local LCBO. His ragged clothing and disoriented demeanor were unmistakable signs of addiction. In the harsh glow of a flickering street lamp, his eyes seemed vacant, as if he were disconnected from reality. The closer I got, the more I felt the unease settle in the pit of my stomach. I couldn't ignore the gut feeling that this encounter might take a sinister turn. The man turned his head toward me, and our eyes met. In that moment, I felt a chill run down my spine, as though his gaze pierced through my very soul. It was as if he existed in a different world, one devoid of reason or compassion. There was no humanity in those eyes, only a malevolent emptiness that sent shivers through my entire being. I thought to cross the street as my heart began to race, and I quickened my pace, hoping to pass him by without incident. But as I neared, he belched loudly, the guttural sound echoing in the desolate street. I shrank back, repulsed and anxious, desperately wishing to put distance between us. I tried to rush past him, but before I could react, he reached into a grimy bag hanging from his shoulder and pulled out a beer can. With a twisted grin that seemed to mock my fear, he tossed it at my feet. The metallic object clanged against the ground after hitting my feet, its contents spilling out onto the pavement, staining the night with a putrid odor. I was startled, disoriented, and my focus wavered for a moment, which was all the opening he needed. In an instant, he lunged at me, his filthy, stinking fingers tangling in my hair. He yanked hard, and the searing pain radiated through my scalp, bringing tears to my eyes. It was as if my world had spiraled into a nightmare. I struggled against his relentless grip, but he refused to let go. His strength seemed fueled by a desperation I couldn't comprehend. He muttered incomprehensible words, his rancid breath invading my senses, making my skin crawl. I screamed for help, my voice a desperate plea in the silent street, but it felt as though I were trapped in a nightmare with no escape. The minutes that followed were a blur of terror and agony, a relentless assault on my senses. He clung to my hair, his grip unyielding, and it felt as though my very identity was being torn away. In that darkness, I had never felt so utterly alone. And then, as if in answer to my desperate cries, I heard the approaching footsteps of pedestrians turning the corner. Their voices grew louder, filled with alarm and concern, piercing through the oppressive silence of that cold night. Their presence shattered the terrible spell that had bound me to my attacker. I was finally free, but the fear and trauma of that encounter lingered in my every thought. As the bystanders rushed to my aid, the man was dragged away, leaving behind a sense of malevolence that seemed to linger in the shadows. In the safety of their company, I struggled to regain my composure, but the memory of those vacant, malevolent eyes continued to plague my thoughts. The encounter had left an mark, an unsettling reminder of the sinister underbelly that could lurk in the most unexpected places.